There we go. Ooh. Oh, that water definitely helped. How y'all doing, YouTube? We are currently on the 7th SCP of my stream. And I think I'm going to slowly but surely stopping doing all these like weird intros, because I feel like maybe that's not it. But you know what? I'm just gonna tell you to subscribe at the end, or like at the beginning real quick. But like, I don't know, because it feels weird to like say that at the beginning without like actually addressing you guys. And I'm not sure if like at the end it's a good idea, because like at the end you might not even. But I mean, at the end, I said at the end like 3 times now. Once the video is finished and you've seen the whole thing, and if you like it and you want more of it, then just subscribe to it. That's pretty simple, isn't it? So you don't need me at the beginning to be like, oh, like, hey. I'll give it a shot with either or. Doesn't really matter. But for now, let's just continue reading with the rubber ducky.
We all like a good rubber ducky SCP though, eh?
Well, this is a weird time for her to text me. I haven't expected. Yeah, okay. Safe. SCP-1356 is kept in a small box in the storage facilities of Research Sector 9 unless approved for removal and transportation. SCP-1356 is a small bath toy resembling one of several generic rubber duck designs. Tests indicate that the object is made of plasticized polyvinyl chloride. It is designed to emit a sharp squeak when squeezed, just like any rubber duck would. Any good rubber ducky needs to squeak when you squeeze it. I mean, there's nothing else you can say about that. Leave it at that, SCP. That's all it does. It's just a rubber ducky. Don't make it weird. When held by a human subject, the object appears to displace liquid water. If a subject holding the toy attempts to enter a lake or pool, for example, they will find that all liquid in the area extending approximately 152.4 times 81.3 times 45.7 centimeters from the body disappears. But how am I supposed to enjoy the pool with my rubber ducky? Tests performed in a small indoor pool revealed that the approximate volume of water before and after exposure to SCP-1356 remained consistent. However, even in the presence of a subject holding the anomalous duck, water levels were never observed to rise. This suggests that the object displaces the liquid to an unknown location from which it eventually returns. No unusual or foreign substance have yet been detected in displaced water, although pH levels indicate a slight increase in acidity. As the depth of displaced water never exceeds an average of 46 centimeters, a subject walking into a deep pool will eventually find their feet and legs submerged while the rest of the body remains dry. Even vigorous motions and leaps, however, never suffice to bring the upper body into contact with water. The rectangular dry space seamlessly shifts to accommodate even the most abrupt movements. Testing to discover the parameters of this phenomenon as well as potential practical uses are ongoing. See enclosed documents for updates and results. Well, we have except one Tantalus effect. Determine parameters of dry space. Subject of various heights instructed to enter water with SCP-1356 at depths never exceeding subject's shoulder height. Subject encouraged to make every effort to bring hands or face into contact with the water surrounding the dry space created by the object. So long as the object is standing so long as the object is in standing depth of water, the dry space will shift in accordance with the subject's motions. You can split the sea. Appearing to create a mobile rectangular indent in the water, this phenomenon for unknown reasons does not apply to lower extremities in depths exceeding 46 centimeters. When test subject bends, water recedes rather than come into contact with hands or upper body. Dry space appears to maintain its shape. God, itchy armpit. Why are you doing this to me? Appear to maintain its shape and volume as a result. If subject at sufficient depth bends to the point of resting on hands and knees. The dry space will be covered over water. Subject report no change in air pressure. However, breathability of air is limited. The greatest depths at which this total submersion of subject in dry space could be achieved was approximately 1.5 meters, not centimeters, 1.5 meters, depending on the height of subject. Excerpt 2, insufficient life raft. Determine whether dry space displacement can be used to keep subject afloat in deep water. For subjects of sufficient strength and flexibility, instructed to carry SCP-1356 into water of depths of 2.5 meters and attempt to draw legs up into the dry space. Results: all subjects report the same results with variable degrees of difficulties and time elapsed before exhaustion. The following rules have now been consistently demonstrated. 1. Once subject is out of standing depth dry area, SCP-1356 creates around subject maintains its shape, volume, and orientation at the surface of the water. 2. Out of standing depth subject's orientation inside of dry area becomes fixed. Floating at waist depth, subject will now be able to submerge hands and forearms in water below waist level, but any attempt to raise this water in handfuls is impossible. 3. Attempts to reorient upper or lower body inside dry space are exhausting, but prove fruitless in addition. Remaining in the suspended state for more than 10 minutes negatively impacts the circulation of blood to the lower body, eventually resulting in intense cramping and faintness. Excerpt 3, sinking test. Test object anomalous test subjects' anomalous properties were not carried in contact with human subjects. SCP-1356 placed in a small pool. Object does not displace any amount of water or affect pH levels in a significant way. Object floats. Procedure 2. SCP-1356 placed in a small pool and then bombarded with jets of water and various items. Results: despite the object applying PVC material being easily damaged outside of water, when placed in any volume of water sufficient to keep it afloat, object appears to resist all attempt to sink or damage it, bobbing but always remains upright and afloat. Well, with this object ocean in mind, these results might be a prompting to examine the events and outcomes of Incident F 1992 more closely. Always struck me as our business. Dr. Druva. Addendum 1. Prolonged exposure to SCP-1356, hereafter defined as sustained interval approaching or exceeding 2 hours in any depth of water, appears to affect the subject's skin, which takes on the prune-like texture associated with autonomic nerve responses to prolonged contact with water. After 2.5 hours of exposure, the subject was also found to be significantly dehydrated despite receiving fluids before exposure to SCP-1356 and sweating minimally. Addendum 2 is just a note. Oh, of course, it seems we haven't been testing the items' intended purpose. I'd imagine my nephew would say it works rather well. that was cute. That was cute. A rubber ducky that if you hold it, you just have this space of dryness. Of course, at the end, you kind of want the rubber ducky and you to be in the pool. Well, I mean, it did say you have to hold it, but it would kind of be weird to go in the bathtub with this thing and then you just get in there and the water just like fucking vanishes. But it's a cute one. That's a cute one. I like it. I think it's cute.